Okay, fifth graders, let's talk about multiplying fractions by fractions. I know that you understand the algorithm, but what I'm concerned with is that you don't understand why you're getting the answers that you are. Okay, it's one thing to know that we just have to multiply across. I totally understand that. But I need you to understand exactly why when I multiply a fraction by a fraction, I actually get a smaller fraction. Okay, that's totally not what you guys understand about multiplication. Okay, anytime that I multiply a 7 times a 5, I'm going to get a number that's bigger than both 7 and 5. But when I multiply a half times a half, I'm actually going to get a number smaller than a half. So we need to stick together and do this using fraction bars for right now. All right, let's talk about it. All right, so I've got my fraction bar. I'm going to break my fraction bar in half, and I'm going to color in half of that half. Okay. So we could even say that maybe this half is half of a candy bar. Okay. So I have my half of my fraction bar here. And what happens now if I want to give you guys half of the candy bar piece that I have? So you guys come along, and I take what I have and I split what I have in half, and I give you guys this half. The question is, how much of the whole candy bar do you have? Okay, so what I'm asking you is, if this was my half of the candy bar, okay, I had half of the whole thing, and now you guys came along and I gave you, well, let's do it this way. I gave you this little yellow striped section. What portion of the entire candy bar do you have? I want you to think about that for just a minute. All right. If you answered that you have 1/4 of the bar, you'd be correct. Okay. The best way to think of this is, if I do it on one side, I need to do it on the other. So in this case, I split the second side in half, and I only used dotted lines because I'm not really dealing with that, but I want you to see that because I did it over here, right here, I have to do it over here. And so then if I count it, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of the candy bar, and I gave you guys one of the pieces. So then 1/2 of 1/2 equals 1/4. Half times half equals 1/4. Okay. So let's talk about another one. If I have got, let's do it this way here. All right. All right, so this time around, I've got my candy bar. And this time my candy bar is actually broken into thirds. And I have got this much right here. I've got a third of it. I don't know what happened to the other 2/3. Who knows? But right now, I am holding a third of it. Okay? And you guys come along. And once again, I decide that I'm going to give you half of my third. So I am going to give you half of my third. But remember, if I do it in one area, I have to do it in the rest. So we're just going to use a little dotted line right here so that you know I technically split the whole thing even though I don't have those two pieces. Okay, and I'm going to give you guys this part. So I'm going to give you 1/2 of 1/3 of my candy bar. How much of the whole candy bar are you guys holding? Well, you are holding one piece, because you're holding this guy right here, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal pieces. Okay. All right. I know it's a little bit confusing, the whole dotted line thing, but the dotted line, guys, is just to help you realize how many total pieces you have after you've taken your section. Okay. So let's do one more, and then we'll talk about some work. All right, once again, I have my bar, my candy bar, and this time my candy bar is going to be broken into fourths. Okay, so I have 4 equal pieces, and I am holding this piece right here. You guys come along, and this time, once again, I am going to give you half of my piece. I'm giving you this much right here. So I am giving you 1/2 of my 1/4 of the candy bar. So how much of the total candy bar are you holding? You are holding this little piece out of how many total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You are holding 1 out of 8 total pieces. This is why it is so important for you to use the model representation. It shows you that by multiplying a fraction times a fraction, we are actually getting a much smaller piece than we started with. Okay, and we're going to start talking about how this relates even to money. Okay, what's half of $1? Half of $1 is 50 cents, right? If I want half of your $1/2, I'm going to have 25 cents. Just something to think about. All right, friends. You are welcome to start the classwork. If you have questions, come back and talk to me.